Off at discussion item number 5, the setting of the annual town meeting warrant on April 2nd, 2012. We had some discussion on different articles.
Yeah, we went over, there was a motion to accept the articles, special 1 through 5, but there is a 6th article that was added, and this deals with the amount of money that is owed to Waste Solutions.
So are we talking about the special? We already set the special.
Yes, but I'm just telling you the article that was added.
Okay.
You want me to do that or no?
Yeah, why don't we talk about that article quickly?
There's an unpaid bill of $3,618.95. The sponsor is obviously the Board of Health, and this article deals with an FY11 outstanding waste collection invoice that we settled with Town Council. Do you remember that whole discussion? Okay. And that's the only article that was added to the special. Article 2 is out. Now, the annual. Go ahead. I'm ready to.
Okay.
Ready to roll.
All right. Do we just want to go through them?
Article 1 is sets the seats that are up for election and posts the question: shall the town of Abington be allowed to exempt from the provisions of Prop 2.5, so-called the amounts required to pay for the bonds issued in order to complete a feasibility study at the Frollo Middle School, 1071 Washington Street, Abington, including the payment of all costs incidental or in relation thereto. Now, I do here have what the cost would be on a 1-year payment and on a 5-year payment. I'm sorry, I thought I had it here, I lied to you.
Yes.
I'll have it for you next week. Article 2 deals with the personnel bylaw, which we went over. Article Article 2A deals with the classification, salary plan. The proposal is that obviously, as a result of the formation recently of a supervisor or a department head union, that some of these positions that are in the classification scheme or Schedule 2A will be coming out, as they will be covered through a collective bargaining agreement. Article 2B is an increase of 3% to the town clerk's salary. The proposed rate would be, I know that number is 61,000 and change, but I'll have a more definitive number. 62,399.58. This will be the 3rd year that the town clerk has proposed a 3% increase and didn't get it. Oh, I mean, I don't have to answer that. That's only natural. Nobody got anything. Who gets anything? Article 3 deals with the defrayment of salaries, which at this point we have nothing definitive. Article 3 also deals with the operating budget and salary defrayments or increases. There are a couple in the budget that we should talk about, the proposed budget, when we get to The accountant salary, that number will remain the same for the town accountant. That's not increasing, even though we'll be looking for a town accountant. The assessors and the collector treasurer's numbers reflect the two-year increase approach that the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen agreed to for those two salaried positions. Town council services remains the same. There's a new department called Information Technology or Network Administrator. There are significant increases to that as a result of some licensing issues and some increases in our KVS updates and monies that we have to appropriate for KVS. Data services and processing services, that number went from $26,000 to $73,397, and that primarily deals with about, I can't remember the total amount. I'll get that number for you. But KVS is increasing in a two-year increment. We're spreading it out over 2 years. Tax foreclosure is $45,500. The town clerk, as you know, we've talked about her salary increasing by 3%. Police department budget, we've talked about these increases previous. Gas, plumbing, and sealer weights and measures are all roughly the same as they were last year. We've increased civil defense from $3,000 to $5,000. Part of that increase, we will be applying for a civil defense grant, and that makes up the $2,000 difference in a matching grant that we would have to apply for. School department increase is going from $17,300,000 to $20,205,000. Highway, there's a slight increase in expenditure, a slight increase in construction and maintenance, and also in salaries and wages. We are proposing an increase in a couple of positions to highway. Snow removal budget, we went from $100,000 to $120,000. I'm going to be talking about municipal solid waste in my town manager's report. Council on Aging is up to $123,616. Veterans agent, we're looking at increasing from 41 to 57. Women's crisis, we're adding 4,000 to the budget again this year as we did last year. There's also a warrant article for Women's Crisis Center. If the budget passes, I would request a pass over Article 4. That was a petitioned article, so we couldn't not put it on the warrant, even though we'd probably like to not put all the petition articles on. Recreation Commission, that budget is going to change. It's going to increase. I'm going to have more definitive numbers to place in here before this goes to print. As a result of the director and his illness, prolonged illness, we are proposing to hire a temporary assistant to take his place. We are going to propose 2 full-time and 2 part-time positions. The full-time positions will transition over to highway, and they will be assigned to work the fields during the summer months as a priority basis. Historical Commission asked not to be funded in FY13, so we're saving a little money there. Memorial Day is going from $2,200 to $8,200. $8,200 is the expense for the parade that we are incurring in FY13. Retirement increased a couple of $100,000. Unemployment is at 100, and according to the Collector Treasurer, he believes that 100,000 is a good number for FY13. Health insurance has remained level at $4,903,000. Medicare is up a little bit. Ambulance fund, we talked a little bit about increasing rates. It looks like that number will come in higher. We're proposing to take $545,000 from ambulance to fund the operating budget for the fire department. Conservation, golf course, enterprise, sewer is up just a tad down, I'm sorry. Sewer is down from 2.4 to 2.3, and water is down from water is up from 2.1 to 2.2. Article 4 deals with the establishment of the revolving accounts for certain departments in FY13. Article 5 deals with the expenditure of Chapter 90 money. Article 6 deals with sick leave buyback for a retired firefighter, $3,814.82, which would be raised and appropriate. And $23,614.87 for sick leave, vacation buyback for the town accountant. This is as a result of a separation agreement with the town. Article 8 deals with the meals tax. That is a petitioned article, one of our favorite reoccurring articles. Number 9 is the article for MSBA for a study at the middle school, which is actually a study of all of our school components. Article 14 is $14,000 available for transportation of our Abington students who attend out-of-district vocational technical school. Article 11 deals with the annual quorum at town meeting. That's a petitioned article. Article 12 deals with former employees' retirement superannuation. That is also a petitioned article. Article 13 is raise and appropriate or borrow or transfer from available funds the sum of $350,000 to purchase a replacement for the Station 1 radio antenna, including all expenses necessary or in relation thereto. I think that this is going to be a fall, it's 350,000. I'd have to check that number, that 350,000 number. Then that should be a fall article where if we have the money available at as a capital expense. Article 14 is the illicit discharge to municipal stormwater sewer system. This is an article that's proposed, approved by the planning board. It also included department head participation to write a bylaw that would be in compliance with the stormwater management plan for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, another unfunded mandate. The next article is Article 15, which is the bylaw articles.
And can you just, one quick question, Article 14, is that proposed, it says by the town manager, is that by you or is it by the planning board?
No, it's by the town manager. Yeah, and the reason for that is that we have to take some action on a stormwater management plan to be in compliance with stormwater regulations. So this is the first step. The second step to complying with the regulation is doing the GIS mapping, which we are in the process of doing as we speak. The Article 15 by the fire chief. I think they broke it down. Location of town meeting was really actually the moderator.
Yeah, they've taken all of the articles with the bylaw committee and grouped them under one article, Article 15, but they're separate articles.
Which is, I think, how the
15D.
bylaw committee wanted each one separately numbered, I think, is how they.
Right, 15, it's 15A, B, C, D, E, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Code of Ethics, much needed. 15K, 15L, 15M, which is Finance Committee recommendations. 15N, cap on Class 2 licenses. Article 16 is to authorize the Board of Selectmen by petition or special legislation to amend the charter, to transfer custody of property held by playing fields, parks, public lawns, and landscape areas in the town pool from the Board of Park and Recreation Commissions to the Board of Selectmen, and to place general care and management of such properties under the Highway Department as set forth below, provided, however, that the General Court may make clerical editorial changes of form only to the bill unless the Board of Selectmen approves amendments to the bill before enactment by the General Court, and that the Board of Selectmen is authorized to approve amendments which shall be within the scope of the general public objectives of the petition. This is the partial formulation and the incremental changes to that's Article 16. You may not have that.
I got it, we got it right here.
You got
No,
it?
it's different. It's worded differently than what you just read.
I'm sorry. 16, I will, this came in today from Lauren Goldberg, so the changes I'm reading are what Lauren Goldberg has proposed. But what we're doing is we're transferring the ownership of property for care and custody from the Park and Rec Department to the Highway Department, as we had been discussing over the last couple of years. This will be the first of two steps in creating a DPW department with divisions which would include public property maintenance. Article 17 is a transfer of 162.5 to Rockland to purchase land around Hingham Street Reservoir located on a map and parcel plan that we have yet to receive. Article 18 deals with $1,126,650 authorized but unissued borrowing approved by the board under by town meeting under Article 18 of the warrant of 2006. And I think what we're doing is rescinding some of that unissued debt, clearing it up. That's 18. 19 is the same thing. And number 20 is a petitioned article for the $4,000 to New Day in lieu of services provided to the sexual assault survivors and their families in the town of Abington. And that's it.
And there'll be another article for what we discussed in executive session tonight,
I'm sorry?
correct? Another article for
For the sewer
settlement?
department?
For the settlement?
Yeah, the sewer department settlement.
Oh, yes, we'll
That'll
put
be
that
another-
under the special, because we're going to pay it out before FY13 starts.
I have a couple questions on some of the articles, Mr. Chairman. if
Go
that's
ahead,
all right.
sure, Kenny.
Article 16 on the Park and Rec, is the Park and Rec Commissioners on board with that? Or are they?
I'm
I'm
going to
just
go
concerned that
to,
they're going to get up at town meeting and say they didn't know about it, or they have a problem with it. Not. I
I've
mean, if
talked
they have
to,
one, they have one.
I have talked with two of the members of the Park and Rec Commission. I have not met with the Park and Rec Commission on it specifically. So I plan to do that before town meeting, I hope.
John, is this a balanced budget, a balanced
No.
presentation?
Well, we're nowhere near a balanced budget. We're approximately 2.3 or greater out of line at this point.
How much is that, how much is schools? Out of the
Well, the school increase is 2.4 million, 2.3, 2.4.
So how do we move forward with, what would a balanced, my question is, what would a balanced budget be?
We're hoping that the special education reimbursement from the state is higher than 60%. That number in the school budget is approximately $800,000. So if they go from 60% to 70%, that's less money that the town has to come up with for special education. And there are a couple of those issues. Of course, one is PEC, and some of the other outstanding issues that we are waiting for some resolution on that will bring that deficit down significantly. And so that's where we stand right now.
But even if they brought 800,000, it'd still be out of whack.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're going to have to, at that point, we're going to have to determine what cuts, if any, we're going to have to make across the board.
Okay, so there will be a presentation on what a balanced budget would look like,
absolutely.
where the cuts would be. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Presentation to both the Board of Selectmen and the Finance Committee.
So in conjunction with that, it doesn't appear as though we're going to be ready to go on April 2nd for budgets.
Well, we can, except we're cutting $2.3 million on April 2nd.
So are we going to be ready to go on April 2nd?
If the board says, let's be ready to go on April 2nd, we'll cut $2.3 million and call it a day. But I think that we should wait
Well, that's what my next question was.
until we understand what our chapter special ed reimbursements are going to be from the state, whether or not we're going to get any additional money in savings from plan design or from 150E negotiations with the PEC. And we're still fine-tuning revenue that we are waiting to get some additional numbers on right now. But we're expecting a very level budget. Here's the issue. And I'm going to be very frank about this because I think it needs to be discussed. Unless we develop new funding sources, we are in a stagnant revenue picture for the next 10 years or more. And the reason for that is that we are at sewer capacity. Unless we find alternative capacity sources, we are not going to achieve new growth numbers that we have had in the past. Our new growth numbers have steadily declined for the last 6, 7, 8 years. We're as high as 800,000. We are projecting a new growth number of less than $200,000. So there's nothing happening. The town is a very stagnant town. We can remain that way. Or we can look at options for alternative sewer treatment components. And one of them that I think we need to take a look at very seriously and soon is localized treatment facilities within the town that we control. Not Brockton, not Rockland, but the town of Abington controls. We can then control our destiny. I estimate, and it was confirmed recently by John Stone, that we need an additional 500,000 capacity. 2/3 of it would be residential, and the third would be commercial highway or unless we have that additional capacity, or unless we have new funding sources, we cannot look forward to the building of a new high school, for example, as I think that will naturally require new growth numbers that we are just not going to generate because we don't have the capacity to do so as far as sewer is concerned. And our growth numbers have remained extremely stagnant and have actually declined as far as new growth is concerned. So I don't necessarily see us moving in a positive growth direction as far as revenue is concerned. And we're doing whatever we can to save money. And I'm going to talk a little bit tonight in the town manager's report about our municipal solid waste budget. and where that's going over the next couple of years. So I look at it in a very bleak lens, and I know that there is a tremendous amount of demand for services. There's a tremendous amount of demand for a new school, support the study, support the fact that we need a new school. But reasonably, unless we as a town come together and figure out from a strategic planning perspective how much new homes are going to be built, how many new people are going to come to town, how much we plan on expanding our commercial and industrial or commercial and retail space on Route 18, and how much we want to grow that, we're never going to be able to look forward to additional new growth revenue in this town until that happens. It's going to take 7 years before that actually happens, before we actually get the permits that we need from the Department of Environmental Protection to do that. From my perspective, I went through a regional sewer study that involved 3 different communities. And in that study, we're going to pick up a little bit of that study in our building needs study that we're going to do for the school. There's going to be a certain amount of population, demographic increases that we're going to need to know about. But in addition to that, we need to know from the planning board, from the zoning board, from the sewer commission, where this new growth is going to occur, where these localized treatment plants need to be located so that they first of all recharge our aquifers, which is a good benefit. We might be able to use it for irrigation purposes if they're placed properly, for the golf course, for our fields. But more importantly, we need to know if 500,000 gallons is sufficient enough for the next 20 years. We cannot continue to live by one day to the next. We have to do a strategic long-range plan. That hasn't happened. In my opinion, it should have happened 10 years ago. But I know that the Sewer Commission has done some preliminary work, and they have done some long-range decisions as it relates to a 500,000 one facility structure. My approach is that we need to look at 5 separate locations where the infiltration can be accepted in certain areas of town where we have the ability to do that. So all of that requires a lot of planning, but none of that planning is going to lead to any significant new growth numbers for approximately 7 years. And so we are basically in a financial level playing field where we're not going to receive a significant amount of new growth money. Forget about the state coming through with any kind of money. I'm assuming that it's going to be level. And if there is an increase, it's going to be in Chapter 70 more so than general aid. And so as a result of that, our financial picture for the next 7 to 10 years is going to be bleak unless we make some very significant, quick, accurate, strategic planning decisions about how much capacity we need, where it's going to be located, and how we can rely on that, when it's going to come online, and when we can expect new growth to take place. Part of it is due to the economy itself, but a majority of it is due to the fact that we are at our limit as far as sewer capacity. I just offer that as a meager observation on my part.
So Andy, what was the question again? Town meeting is April.
Yeah, it's not going forward on April. Well, we'll go forward, but we won't have the budgets, I would imagine, at that point in time to do.
Because we're not going to have new growth numbers,
Right.
and we're not going to have.
It's like a yes or no.
I figured I'd throw that in as a commercial
So
break.
we don't need to mail the warrant out then, do we?
I think so.
We still
If
have to mail the warrant out with it.
We're going to
Will we
mail
still
it.
have to mail the warrant out?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to have town meeting on the 2nd. We're going to delay the
Just won't do the.
financial articles for approximately 3 weeks.
Is that what your recommendation is going to be?
Article 15, is that going to be voted on all at once, or is that going to be broken down?
Article
Broken down?
15 is broken down. Article 15 is broken down from A,
And
Yeah, but we're going to be voting on the piece by piece, piecemeal, okay.
yes, there's 15A through N. Yeah, 15A through 15N.
Could be a two-nighter.
Okay.
we could vote on articles like that at that meeting, right?
Oh, yeah,
That's what we did. Oh.
non-monetary.
Yeah. Is there any articles you want to take off?
I want to ask a couple questions. Article 10, school committee for $14,000 for student transportation. Is that because it's not for Abington schools, so it's not considered? I'm just wondering why that isn't in the school committee's budget.
It usually is outside of the school budget every year. Last year, that number was $7,000. It increased to $14,000. But it usually is covered outside of the budget, outside of their budget.
My other question is Article 8 by petition. I don't know if this is the third year in a row this article's been on there, and it causes a lot of debate at town meeting, which is not necessarily a bad thing, however, it keeps getting shot down, so I'm not sure. Everybody keeps telling me that it's petition, you have to include it. I don't know, is that in our charter and bylaw, or is that by statute, state statute? So we have to include it? If we have to include it, I'm concerned because the last sentence says it is estimated by the Department of Revenue to provide an additional $225,000 to the town of Abington. Isn't that kind of like a commentary?
I had the same, I was going to make the same comment.
If you look at any other articles, it doesn't explain. I don't have a problem with that being in the pros and cons after it, or an explanation, but as part of the article, I think it's a little ridiculous.
Where did that number come from anyway?
We can take it out, but that's what the state says they're going to raise in revenue.
That's their estimate, but if you go online, their estimates haven't been exactly on mark. They've been about 15 to 20%.
I think most of them have been.
No, I've got some right here that I could tell you that they haven't, and they're all neighboring towns, so.
Oh.
I would prefer, as Kenny said, that's kind of editorializing, I would prefer that come out.
We'll take it out.
Can you take it out?
Not the article.
No, just-
But there's an
No, the
editorial
explanation.
comment at the end in the explanation.
But the article, it is petition.
And if the petitioner wants to get up and give figures, or petitioners, or proponents, that's.
We'll
fine.
just put additional revenue to the town, because that it will do.
We took it off when it was put on by John 2 years ago. We took that article off before it was a petition, when John had placed it on the warrant.
What's that? When I had placed it on the warrant?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
not a
Well,
petition article.
well, wait a minute. The way it reads here, it looks like that was inclusive of the petitioned article. If that was inclusive of the petitioned article, that exact verbiage has to be on the warrant.
Has to be verbatim.
Well, I guess you could check that, because it's the explanation portion.
Well, no, it's the explanation
Doesn't
portion.
matter.
I think these are John's.
No, I understand, if it's by
Is it-
petition.
Well, let me
and
ask
if-
the question then, is it your explanation, or was it part of the petition article?
No, the petition article was the first part of 8.
All right.
And take it up.
Any other questions?
Just on, you spoke before about the revolving accounts, there was no insert. At least I didn't get one. At some point in time, we can look at those and vote whether we support them or not.
The
Revolving accounts.
Revolving
This
accounts.
article here said there was be an insert, but it didn't really say what they were going to be.
Yes, we're going to have a chart that'll be added, like we did last year, with what they're used for and what the amount was.
Any more questions on the warrant? If not, since it's getting very late as well, I would like to move.
Now, I think
Move
we
on.
had to, Kevin, make a motion to. set
Yeah,
the
I
warrant.
had the motion to set the warrant with Articles 1 through 20 as delineated, to set the annual town meeting for Monday, April 2nd at 7:05 PM
Okay, do
at Abington High School.
I'll second.
we have a second by Mike Franny. Any further discussion?
There may be more articles too. He said
Yeah,
1 through
at
20,
least
but
one.
there's gonna be 21 at least. Gonna be one added, so.
Yeah.
Well, we're not going to add,
You'd
we're
add it
going
to
to
the
add
special.
You're gonna add-
the
Oh, okay.
article to the
All right,
special.
All right, sorry. The one that we already voted on, okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous. Okay. Town manager report.
Just a minute.
Motion to adjourn.
Selectmen, old new business?
Yeah, I got, where do we stand on the memorial arch, just out of curiosity?
Well, we have some responses from the engineers, these historical engineers that we have to use to get money. I'm in the process of trying to write a grant to try to get some money. I have not decided on an engineer at this point. I know that that has to happen. And then the engineer would write the specifications for the work to actually be done. So we're going to be spending some money of the 300,000, probably within the next couple of months. So I'm hoping, I'm only one person, and it's going to take me some time to get that portion done. I have a roof bid to get out. I have this bid to look at, and I'm hoping to do it as soon as I can.
Well, I think if we take money out of the 300,000, I guess my concern is this, because I sponsored that or I wanted to put that article in the town meeting so that we could get this thing done and ready for the dedication on September 22nd. And I guess my concern at this level is that if we have to take money out of that 300,000 to hire the engineer to prepare the bids, then so be it. But I think we've got to get rolling on it. I'll grant you, there's a lot going on, but I really think that if we let this thing slip, we're not going to be ready for the September 22nd. And that is not the reason that, that I brought that thing forward. I brought it forward under the guise that we wanted to get it done and completed by September.
I can appreciate that, but no one asked me about the September 22nd date. No one actually considered my workload, what I had to do, what...
John, it was...
I understand your concern. I'll get it done as quick as I can.
I think the issue is very simple. We get whoever you hire as the engineer, let them prepare the bids and get it out.
Oh, that's what they're
That
going
way
to...
you don't have to deal with it.
That's what they're going to do, but,
John, in all fairness to Kevin, it was...
not for,
Yeah.
well, I'm not even going to get into it.
Okay. It was in the list of goals and objectives that haven't been officialized yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that, but it's,
I understand.
somebody said a date of September 22nd. No one came to me and said to me at any point in time, is this a doable date? The way things happen around here is that other people make that decision, and then everyone else has to abide by it. I didn't decide on September 22nd. That was decided
By the Tricentennial Committee.
by somebody else without any consultation with me, which is not unusual.
Well, then we can make it work.
So we'll just have to,
Anything
make
else?
it work as
Do your
best we
best.
can.
That's all right.
Yeah. Anything else under Selectmen Old New Business? If not, John, do you have anything under Town Manager Report?
Well, most of my time has been spent dealing with the recycling and waste collection bids. I sent the information out to the board. I'll give you a copy of I have to meet with the Board of Health tomorrow. It looks like, based on the bids, we have received favorable bids for solid waste and recycling at curbside. The highlighted areas denote the lowest qualified bidders. Currently, we're paying $80 a ton. We're going to be able to get that disposal fee down to $63 a ton. Our automated curbside collection looks like it's going to save the town, even after we purchase the barrels, at least in the first year, approximately, if I estimate my savings correctly, about $84,387 after we purchase the barrels. And every year thereafter, as the tonnage decreases and recycling increases, we could save approximately, well, we're going to save the barrel cost in the first year, which is $273,388 after the $10 grant for the barrels, which, thank God, the Board of Health agent is going to write. But every year thereafter, we should save approximately $262,798,000 in each year thereafter. So it's about trying to operate more efficiently rather than the way we have been in the past. So we're not ready to award at this point. That's something that also has to happen so that we have a sufficient amount of time to get the person on board, either, and I think we should purchase the barrels rather than have the barrels provided by the hauler.
Our cost's a little cheaper, John, than what they're bidding for the barrels?
Well, our cost on the barrels are $43, and it's in here somewhere.
The lowest here is 54.
Our barrel cost is 43, a little over $43. I'm 43.34
Looks good.
for 8,200 barrels. Those barrels will have a monitoring chip in it and a swipe for ownership and identification. I think that this is a great program. It's a program that I am familiar with, and we've saved a ton of money over the years in Mansfield. But I'm going to the Board of Health tomorrow just to provide them with an update as to where we stand. The decision is going to be the town manager's decision. Once I get past that, I think I'll have some breathing room tomorrow to get the other stuff completed and done in a sufficient amount of time.
Anything else on the town manager report?
That's all I have.
Can I ask a couple questions on this bid, just real quick? Troop, they want to charge us $71 for a tipping fee per ton. Where was that going to? Did they specify where they were going to be bringing it?
No, I didn't. The bid requires us to direct where it's going to go. So from my perspective, it's going to Greater New Bedford Regional Refuse Management District.
Okay. And my other question is, single stream revenue sharing formula, you have $12 down for Troop. They were going to pay us $12 a ton for recycling material? Or is that a cost? That's a revenue? $12 a ton? For single stream? That's pretty good. Okay. No one else was willing to pay us any funds?
Yeah, there is a couple.
Oh,
There's another one. Capital Paper
Recycling.
Recycling only bid an estimated $12 a ton. And that could
$12 a
change.
ton.
It depends upon what the market will bear and what the conditions are. But it's the first time that we're receiving any kind of revenue
Absolutely.
at all.
Now, would you have revenue sharing and revenue, suppose the market drops and there's no revenue, would it be flipped the other way, we would have to pay?
No.
Would make it in the contract so that, okay.
No, I only write contracts where the town gets paid.
Really?
Yeah,
Excellent.
I'm not gonna write a contract where we're gonna pay them. We're not even paying for fuel adjustment charges.
Right. Excellent. This is,
Good job.
this is great.
This is very nice, John.
Well, I just want you to know that, that unfortunately, there was a lot of time and energy that went into this. Some of it, I think, was not necessary, but,
I think we found ourselves in that bracket too. We actually attended a meeting one night with them.
Yes. But you know what, you got it done, so.
yeah, not bad for somebody who was a second choice.
Now, if we buy our barrels ourselves, could we put your picture on them? So everybody would be reminded this was your idea and this was...
I don't care who takes the idea. I just want to do what I think is right for this town, and I don't want to be hampered in the process of doing that.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay, taking into consideration that we all lost an hour's sleep over the weekend, and we all worked today, and we're heading into our 5th hour, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Why? I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.